Hi, I'm Dr. Diane Duckett, and welcome to another episode of Becoming You. This podcast is to help assist you in becoming a better, successful you in life and in business. I am delighted to share with you today on just that. We know that becoming a better you takes work. In fact, it takes a lot of work that we sometimes really don't want to do ourselves. So today, I want to talk about understanding connection to understanding ourselves. Yes, today I want to talk about understanding connection to understanding ourselves. Here's a quote by Herman Melville. We cannot live for ourselves alone. Our lives are connected by 1,000 invisible threads. And along these sympathetic fibers, our actions run as causes and return to us as a result. Perhaps our most important emotional need is to belong and connect. Connection is very important. When it comes to becoming who we were meant to be, connection is what helps us to thrive in our life's purpose and our life's journey. Understanding connection to understanding ourselves is one that we must consistently have and seek to have. What is connection? Connection is defined as any relationship, bond, attachment, and close association with another person or several others. We have connection in our families, in our communities, with friends and places we work and serving others. We find deep connection in people we love. We find nurturing connections in those we care for or care for us. And we find sustaining connection in friendships, associations, and extended families. So connection is important and connection matters because it helps us understand connection to others so that we can understand ourselves. Connecting with others is a core basic need for our happiness. And many may say that you don't need connection to be happy, but can I beg to differ? You do need connection to be happy and live your best life. Research shows us that loneliness is on the rise and that a lack of human connection can be more harmful to your health than obesity, smoking, and high blood pressure. And in today's age, we live busy lives trying to strike a balance between work, school, hobbies, and self-care. And oftentimes, our social connections fall by the wayside, and this is due to a lack of social interaction. Connecting with others is more important than you might think. Social connection can lower anxiety and depression and help us to regulate our emotions and lead to us having high self-esteem, and also it will improve our immune system, right? So by neglecting our need to connect, we put our health at risk. And so the reality is we're living in a time of true disconnection. You know, we have this quarantine going amongst us, and this pandemic that is amongst us that is causing us to disconnect normally when we would have been connecting with others outside of this pandemic. So while technology seems to connect us more than ever, the screens around us disconnect us from nature and from ourselves and from others. So social media isn't enough to fulfill our social needs. We do need face-to-face interaction to thrive and flourish and to become our best selves. For example, I was speaking to a coworker, and we talked about the upcoming school year, and she was saying where she was saying that, she really wanted to be in the school because, of course, we're going virtually for the first quarter. And so we won't be back into the classroom probably until next year. And so, she was talking about how disappointed she was because she wanted to be back into the classroom. And she mentioned how she misses the interaction and connection with students and teachers and wished to get back to fellowshipping with her peers. And so, she continues to say she was very bored and needed to get out the house to interact with others. And so this is a prime example of needing to be in connection with others, because when one is not in connection with others, one can lose themselves. One can feel depressed, feel stressed, feel like they're alone or in a lonely place. They can feel like they've been abandoned, and that's not the case. And it's because the situation that we're in right now, is no fault of our own, but that social connection is very key to us being able to be the best versions of ourselves and to thrive and flourish in the way that God intended us to thrive and flourish in life. So when we are connecting only with ourselves and ruminating, with our own thoughts, you will begin, to burn out. The quote says, from Elizabeth Hopper, she says, rather than ruminating on what makes our life worthwhile as we work toward burnout, we can find the answer outside ourselves in human connection. And that is so true. We cannot find ourselves inside of ourselves, so we cannot find, ourselves when we are alone by ourselves, but we only find ourselves when we're in connection with others. So just imagine being the only person you connect with. How far will that get you? It won't get you very far. Why? Because human beings have an innate desire to connect, to experience dynamic relationships with one another. It's like a marriage. When two people get married, they have made a connection to do great things together. And so the connection that they have entered into allows them to flourish in many ways. But sometimes life happens. Even in this type of connection, life can hit a relationship, and so life can bring stresses and take a toll on the relationship, because you may have some bills that need to be paid, or some home repairments that demand your time, and or your job is just consuming much of your energy. And so let's not talk about the kids. If you have children, that can be an interference as well. But however, we still need connection, and we still need relationships no matter what is going on in our lives. So we were created for relationship. At the beginning of time, God said it was not good for man to be alone. And that's scripture found in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. He said, man should not basically be alone. So he gave us, relationship. And although man was surrounded by the animal kingdom, the birds, the fish, everything, the animal kingdom, everything that was part of the animal kingdom, that was what the man was surrounded with. And there were none that completely corresponded to his humanness. And so once the man was aware of his isolation, God causes a deep sleep to fall on him, taking a rib from his side, and in the process, created Bana, woman, which literally means in Hebrew to build, right? So God used the very substance of the man and builds it. He forms it and he molds it into the woman. And so this was a delicate process in which God carefully, artfully constructs the woman, so that the man could have a connection that was, that looked like him, but, in woman form. So once God had finished with, his masterpiece, the man wakes up and sees this different, being, in front of him, but completely, it's a completely human being, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, and the man calls her woman. He actually names her woman. And so, he's no longer in isolation. He's no longer, by himself. And so connection is so important to one, for us to be able to thrive and to flourish the way that God has intended for us to flourish. So therefore, this tells us that, we were created for relationship. God created us for relationship. Why? Because we were created in the image of God. Even God tells us about community, connection, and relationship when he says, let us create man in our image. Here, God is not just talking about himself, but he's also referring to Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And so we see that connection is the will of God for our lives. God could not do all the things that he needed to do without Jesus and the Holy Spirit. You see, they all had the same distinct nature, but they all had different roles when it came to, serving, and serving our lives, coming into our lives to give us, certain directions to be able to be on this journey that God has us on. So much of what we're to gain and learn and this experience from the connections that we have in these relationships with others is a reflection of the kind of connection God wants to have with us. So he shows us glimpses of himself through some of the people he puts in our lives. And that connection, which is saying, matters, to God, and so it should matter to us. So everything God created for a purpose. And so when God created, the heavens and the earth, he created for a purpose. When God, created, the animal kingdom, he created for a purpose. And so when God created connection with others, he created that for a purpose. So why do we need connection? Why is it that we need connection to even be able to thrive and flourish, in our lives, and even to become the best version of ourselves? For one, connection helps build us up to understand ourselves. So you see, when we are not connected, with others, right? How are we being built up? How are we being built up personally? Because you can build yourself up, but you can only build yourself up to a point. And so God uses other people to build you up. And that may be through empowering, inspiring, and edifying. And so God uses others, to build you up, so that, you can really be connected to others where you are becoming the best version of yourself. And so we cannot take it lightly that when we are disconnected from others, we're not getting the same thing that we need out of life. Because of that disconnection. And that's why it's so important for us to be connected, with others, so that, that build up can happen. So we need connections to help build us up, so that we can understand ourselves even the more, because without that building up, you will never see your full potential. Basically, you will never see the full potential that God has for you, because you don't have that connection, in your ear or in your space to help move you and to help build you in a way that you need to be built. So many times, so many lives have been damaged, or so many lives have been, have been in a lonely place where, they just felt lonely. They just felt abandoned. They thought nobody cared or anything like that. And it's because they didn't have people in their life to build them up the way that they needed to be built up. They didn't have the connection with others where, they can be empowered, to thrive in life. And so some people, live their life, alone, and they live their life alone to the point where they die alone, because they never had that connection with others. So it's very important to connect with others to help build you up. Secondly, being connected to others is important for our mental and physical well-being. When we connect with others, it can be a protective factor against anxiety and depression. So, it is said, I was reading an article that said loneliness is a feeling of a lack of companionship or quality relationship with other people. And as we get older, changes in our personal circumstances and lifestyle can result in us feeling less connected to others and increase the risk of us becoming lonely. So that is the reason why connection and communication and emotional connection is so important, because it helps to eliminate eliminate, anxiety, depression, and stresses. Now, we are going to have the normal stresses. We are going to have the normal anxieties, and we probably will all have the normal depressions. But when you're connected to healthy relationships, these anxieties, these stresses, and the depression won't exist because you're connected, to others where they're, what I said the first time, they're building you up, they're empowering you, they're inspiring you, and they're edifying you to the point where, this anxiety and stress and depression won't exist in your life. So you'll know, when you're not in a healthy relationship, because unhealthy relationships will bring on anxiety and depression and stresses. And so you must be able to change the narrative, by connecting to others that can, build you up and allow you to truly be free of those type of, emotions, those anxieties, those depressions, and those stresses. And so it's a good thing to, connect to people who are in a healthy state where they can help you as far as your relationship with yourself and building you up in the process. Okay. Thirdly, connection helps us to reach our goals, right? I like the Bible verse that says in Proverbs 27:17, it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, right? And so the truth of the matter is, your chance of actually achieving your goals greatly increases when you are connected to others. And so why is this? Because when you are connected to others, you gain more clarity about the goal you want to achieve. And speaking your goals with those you are connected with can help push you to reach that goal. And so, for example, I'm doing this 30-33 challenge. And for 30 days, I will work out for 30 minutes and take 3 products. And so today I connected with my accountability partner, and her and I met up to get our 30-minute workout in and done, right, for only 30 minutes. But we actually went longer than 30 minutes because we made that connection to achieve our goal. We were able to do 4.5 miles today. So we were able to do more with the goal that we had in mind because we connected, with one another. So connection is very, very, very important, especially when you're trying to achieve something, because you can't achieve things on your own. You can't achieve things alone. Many people think that you can achieve things on your own, but you really need that connection to help you to achieve, your goals, or help you to gain success, or help you to fulfill a vision in your life. It's like, when persons have visions, a vision of starting a business, they can't start that business alone, right? They need people to help them to start that business because, without people, you can't even do the business, right? So you need people to help you start that business, and that's why you need connection, with others, so others can help you fulfill the goal that you have set forth for yourself, so that you can achieve that goal. And that's why it's important for people to have connections, in their life, so that their visions can become a reality. So you cannot, have vision and not connect with others. And also, too, when you connect with others, it also holds you accountable, right? They will hold you accountable to maybe your vision or your goals, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or accomplish. Those persons that you're connected with will hold you accountable to help you to achieve, those things that, you're looking to achieve. So it's very, very important for one to be connected in a way that, goes and visions will be achieved. You cannot do life alone. That's what we say at our church all the time. You cannot do life alone. You need people in your space to help you to do life, because you definitely can't do life alone. If you're doing life alone, then I want to know what your life looks like. But when you're not doing life alone, when you're adding other people in your life and you're connecting with other people in your life, guess what? You'll see more being accomplished because of, the connection that you have, with other people. Now, some people, may think that, I don't want people all in my business. I don't want people to know what I'm doing. They're going to see what I'm doing because I'm not going to say anything. Silence is, is golden. It's a diamond. Don't let people know your next move. No, you got to let people know your next move, because how can those people help you? Like I said, if you're starting a business, or, if you need some resources to do something, right, where are those resources coming from? It got to come from somewhere, right? Because, or unless you are a millionaire, billionaire, where you can literally, finance, the vision that you have for yourself. But normally it's people that will help build your vision. It's people that will add the resources, give you resources to, help your business to thrive and flourish the way that it needs to thrive and flourish. And so you definitely need those connections and those accountability connections to help you to achieve the goals that you are truly looking for. So connection is very important. Connection also too helps you to see the bigger picture, even of yourself. Sometimes, you may look upon yourself and be like, I'm not where I need to be, or I thought I would be, in this place by now. But sometimes when you're not connected to others, you won't see that big picture. You won't see that big picture, and you'll continue to be challenged, and you'll stay stuck. You'll be between a rock and a hard place because you have not made the connection with others to help you see the big picture. So, what is the big picture that you have? And if you have a big picture, who are you connected with to help you see that picture even bigger? Who are you connected with to help you see that picture even bigger? And so how has your connections helped you to see the bigger picture, that you need to see so that you can thrive, so that you can flourish, so that you can even become the best version of yourself? So you see, we need people to help us, in the journey that we're on, to, thrive in the way that we need to thrive. What happens in connection with others, when we're in connection with others, it's like, it's like a mirror, of the relationship that we have with ourselves. So depending on the relationships that you have, or do not have, it's going to reflect you, right? It's going to reflect who you are. Like, it's going to reflect. So if you don't have anybody if you're not connected with anybody, or you're not in relationship with anybody, that's a reflection of you, right? It's a reflection of you, and that speaks volumes of, the type of person you are and who you are. It can just say that, you may be a person that, doesn't like people, or it may say that, you just can't find the right connection, or it could say that, you are feeling lonely and you don't have these people in your life to get you out of that rut. So it can say a whole lot of things, but when you're in connection, with others, that also will show a mirror of yourself. It will show, a mirror of yourself. So imagine, you loving yourself unconditionally, and you trust in yourself, and you step into your own power and know that you are able to overcome any and everything. Imagine you are radically transparent with yourself and others, and you communicate openly, you're clear about it, and are honest with everything that is going on. You will get this mirrored back in the connection you have with yourself, the connection that you have with others around you. And so when you see that mirrored back, that means that you are probably doing something right, or you probably are seeing things that you need to change about yourself. Because how are you going to become you if you don't know exactly what to change? And how are you going to understand you if you're not in connection with others? Because when we're in connection with others, that connection is going to tell us a whole lot about ourselves. It's going to tell us a whole lot about ourselves. It's going to tell us about our, how our emotions. It's going to tell us about our emotions. It's going to tell us how we respond. It's going to tell us a whole lot, about us, because we're, in relation with others. We're in connection with others, and so that's going to help us to see a reflection of ourselves, to be either able to improve ourselves, or, be good with who we are at that moment. And so we have to be in connection with others, because connection is very important. I believe that, when God, created women, he created us for connection, period. He created us as social beings. And we are very social beings. We are so social that, if we, take a time out or take a vacation from being socially interactive with people, probably lose our mind, because we don't have that social connection, with others, to be able to really communicate back to ourselves, or to be able to communicate and understand ourselves completely and fully. And so we must be able to have connections with others. So we can't, and I can, I'm literally thinking about it right now, with students, with the students who are missing school, the students who are wanting to go back to school. I know that when we went to the e-learning piece, where they was just online, we had students that wouldn't come online, because I believe it was because of the social interaction. They didn't have the social interaction. So, and some did, a lot of them came on, online, and I would give them the opportunity once, the mini lesson was up, the opportunity to share with one another on, what they were doing, how they were feeling, and all this, let them share, show and tell, their doggy or their cat or whatever it was. But children, they definitely need the social interaction, because what happens is when they have that social interaction, it helps to build them up. Like I said earlier, it builds them up. It builds their minds. It builds their thinking. It builds their self-confidence. It builds their self-esteem. It builds a lot of things within them when they're able to interact with others. But when they're not interacting with others, they lose that sense. They lose that sense of self. Basically, they lose that sense of self, and now it's now they have to try to adjust themselves, particularly because we're in this pandemic. They have to adjust themselves accordingly, and some, believe it or not, may be in that stage of anxiety, may be in that stage of depression, may be, stressed out, may be, just not feeling themselves, because they're not interacting, with the ones that they normally interact with. Teachers become a very important role in a student's life, because they look forward to, seeing their teacher. They look forward to talking to their teacher. And when that's not taking place, it could, bring some sense of, it can bring something upon them. Even though, we're on a summer break, it's not the same as being in school. When you have a summer break, and that in September you're going to see, your peers, you're going to see your teachers, and that gives them a sense of excitement to be able to, be in that type of atmosphere. But when they don't have that social interaction, it's going to be hard for them to connect. So even for me, I'm a 6th grade teacher. I have a whole new students coming in, different faces, don't know what they look like, don't know their name. They're going to be brand new. So I'm brand new to them, and they're going to be brand new to me. And so I got to get to know those students. So I'm not going to be able to get to know them, or socially interact with them, in the in the traditional way because of the pandemic. And so I have to, probably think differently and do stuff differently so that I can make that connection, that social connection worthwhile. And so connecting to others, to understand ourselves is very important. And it is a big deal. It is a big deal because people, when they're not in connection or social connection with others, they'll put themselves in isolation, and dim the lights and go to sleep because, there's nobody out there, that they wish to talk to or that they wish to be around. But social connection is key, and it's like almost a foundation, basically, to, our being, to why we even exist. We definitely need that social connection, because without it, we're just lost. We could be lost. We could be lost for a long time. And so social connection is very key to who we are. I'm thinking about the Maslow hierarchy, and the basic needs of humans, and that is one of the basic needs. Social interaction, social connection, a sense of belonging is one of the basic needs that we all need as humans. That is our foundation. Our foundation is to be socially connected with one another. Go back to Genesis chapter 2, when man, Adam, was, put here on earth. God had to create someone for him, right? So that he can be able to socially interact with someone like him. He couldn't socially interact with the animals. He had to take care of the animals. Like, he had to take care of the animal kingdom. And so it was not the same as, it wasn't the same because those animals didn't look like him, right? Those animals didn't look like him. And that's why God had to create someone that looked like him so that he can have a meaningful relationship with someone else and not be in isolation or feel like he was, in isolation. And so God created that relationship, that social relationship, so that, he could have someone that he can socially connect to. And when you socially connect with someone, such as with Adam, he was able to do much, much more, for God and for his purpose, because there was now someone there that he could talk to. There was there now someone there that could build him up, that could empower him, that can inspire him, that can share with him, that can share with him, so which added to the relationship aspect of being socially connected. And so we must be able to, find ways to socially connect, with others, so that we can be built up, so that we can be empowered, so that we can be inspired to thrive, to soar, and to become, the best version of ourselves, and to become who God has truly created us to become. And so connection is very, is foundation. It's the foundation to understanding ourselves. So, understanding, connections to understanding ourselves is a must-have in our life. And so do yourself a big favor and start making meaningful connections with others so that you can understand yourself completely and wholly, because it's going to benefit you. And don't be the person that says, I don't want to be around nobody, because you do have people that just doesn't want to be around people. Be the person that wants to be socially connected with others so that you can thrive in your purpose, in your assignment, in your destiny that God has set up for you. Don't miss an open door. Don't miss an opportunity to connect with those who can serve you well. Serve you, in your purpose. Serve you by giving you resources, serve you by building you up, just serve you so that you, can, be, I keep saying, the best version of yourself, and so that you can thrive in your purpose and in your assignment. And so, this is one that, be meaningful. And so we must allow ourselves to be able to connect fully with those that God is allowing us to connect with. We must be able to fully connect ourselves with those that can help us to achieve, those goals that we have, to help us to fulfill the vision that God has for our lives. Don't get stuck in a place where you're not thriving because you're not connected to others to help you move forward. To help you move forward. So you got to be in connection. You got to be in connection with others so that you can understand yourself. Even just ponder this, even after this is over with, ponder the very thing about, your relationships that you're in now. If you're in relationships, if you're connecting, and how are they benefiting, your relationship? How are they benefiting you, helping you to understand yourself? Is it that they are they really helping to show you who you are, and helping to show you who you can become, and helping to assist you in the things that you're striving for? Who are those people that are doing those things for you, or helping you that you want, connected to you, because they have your best interest at heart? And then if you have those who are not serving you well, who's always just, bringing you down and stuff like that, those are the people that you just need to, basically have conversations, from afar, because they're not serving you and they're not serving you well. So you have to connect to people to be able to understand yourself fully, and to be able to yourself so that, you can live the way, live your best life, live the way that God has intended you to live here on earth. So the journey that you're on is a journey that, is evolving every single day. It's evolving every single day. And so don't miss the moment where, you're not connected socially to others that can help you to evolve even. Connection is so important. Remember, I said it's a foundation. It's our foundation God created to be able to thrive on the journey that God has us on. And so, understand connection to others is to understand ourselves, and we must have these connections so that we can have meaningful connections and have a meaningful purpose, and have others to help build us up and take us, further than what we can take ourselves. So I'm Dr. Diane, another episode of Becoming You, a podcast that is helping you become a better, successful you.